When someone we love dies, it often feels as though a vast and unbridgeable gap has opened between this world and whatever lies beyond. The loss can be deeply disorienting, creating the sense that connection has been completely severed. However, many spiritual traditions, and even modern studies of grief and consciousness, suggest a different perspective. Love and connection do not end with death, but continue in a non-physical form. A well-known figure associated with this view is Edgar Cayce, 1877-1945, often called the sleeping prophet. Through thousands of trance readings given over several decades, Cayce consistently taught that death is not an end, but a transformation. According to his teachings, the soul survives physical death, and meaningful relationships persist across the boundary between life and death. He summarized this idea with the statement, "Each life is a chance. Each death is a pause in between them. Eternity does not judge, but teaches." This implies that while our loved ones are no longer physically present, they may still remain connected to us in subtle but real ways. In this series, we will explore 7 subtle channels of connection through which many people report sensing the presence of dead loved ones. These signs are drawn from analysts' readings, personal experiences shared across cultures, and observations from psychological and grief-related scientific research. Experts emphasize that these moments are not mere coincidences or imagination, but often perceived as genuine attempts by the departed to comfort us. By paying attention and sharing these experiences, many people find real comfort and healing during grief of loved one's death. Very first subtle sign is awakening during thin hours, 3 a.m. One of the most commonly reported and most intriguing experiences is waking suddenly in the very early morning, usually between 2 and 4 a.m. This specific window of time has long carried spiritual significance. Many spiritual teachers refer to it as the thin hour or witching hour, a period believed to mark a thinning of the veil between the physical world and the spirit world. Across ancient traditions and folklore alike, the deep night just before dawn is described as a liminal bridge between worlds, when spiritual awareness is naturally heightened. This belief is not limited to ancient teachings. Even modern discussions echo the same idea. A recent article in Parade magazine notes that waking around 3 a.m. could actually be the universe trying to get your attention, literally, pointing out that this time has historically been considered a spiritual veil hour. The implication is striking. The awakening itself may be purposeful rather than accidental. What makes these experiences especially compelling is their emotional tone. People who wake at 3 a.m. almost never describe the moment as frightening. Instead, they report feelings of calm, warmth, or quiet reassurance. Many say they awaken with the distinct sense that someone familiar is near, yet without fear or alarm. This gentle quality is one of the strongest reasons believers view these awakenings as meaningful, rather than disturbing. Edgar Cayce, 1877-1945, offered an explanation that ties both spiritual and psychological elements together. He suggested that between 2 and 4 a.m., the mind exists in a delicate state between deep sleep and full wakefulness. During this time, the subconscious mind is especially alert to intuition. With the rational, analytical mind at rest, even faint impressions, thoughts, emotions, or presences can surface clearly. From a scientific perspective, this moment corresponds to the alpha brainwave state, a condition associated with relaxation, receptivity, and heightened intuitive awareness. In this state, we are more open to subtle signals that would otherwise be drowned out by daytime noise and logic. Because of this, many families report that these awakenings feel connected to a deceased parent or grandparent who seems to be checking in or watching over them. As one medium memorably described it, the experience is like receiving an unexpected cosmic phone call from the other side. Rather than fearing the witching hour, many spiritual traditions encourage openness during these moments. If you wake suddenly and feel calm, or notice something comforting such as a soft light, a familiar presence, a face at the foot of the bed, or even the gentle sound of breathing, it is often advised to pause and remain still. Some people choose to pray, others simply think, "I hear you." Many find that what initially feels mysterious quickly becomes peaceful. Speaking softly can also be grounding. Quietly saying, "I love you," or asking a gentle question is often described as surprisingly soothing. In this way, waking during the early morning hours is seen not as something to dread, but as one of the subtlest and most compassionate ways the spirit world may reach out, offering reassurance, connection, and comfort, rather than fear. The second channel of connection. The second very important sign that departed loved ones may still be with us involves animals appearing in unexpected or uncanny ways. A bird may arrive at the exact moment you are overwhelmed with grief. A butterfly may linger when you are silently seeking reassurance, or a household pet may suddenly behave as if it senses something unseen. Across cultures and spiritual traditions, animals have long been regarded as messengers between worlds, capable of carrying quiet signals from the departed. Psychics and mediums frequently note that loved ones who have passed away often express their presence through the animal kingdom. This belief is supported by institutions such as the London College of Psychic Studies, which states that birds and animals can bring messages of our deceased loved ones' continued presence and love. These encounters often stand out because of their precise timing. A cardinal may flutter near a grave during a first visit after a funeral, or a spider may weave an unusually large web on a meaningful anniversary date. The animal involved is rarely random. It often holds personal symbolic meaning. For example, if your grandmother loved ladybugs, it can feel deeply significant when a ladybug lands on your shoulder while you are grieving. These animal visitations feel powerful because they are intensely personal. The human mind naturally links symbols with memory and emotion, especially during periods of loss. One grieving sister reported seeing butterflies repeatedly whenever she spoke about her sibling who had adored butterflies in life. Another individual described dreaming of a specific dog shortly after burying their father, only to discover weeks later that a friendly stray matching that exact description began appearing and playing in their yard. Family pets are often reported to be especially sensitive to death. Many people notice that cats or dogs behave unusually after a loved one passes, staring intently at empty corners, waking their owners in the middle of the night, or becoming suddenly protective during moments of intense grief. These behaviors are often interpreted as pets reacting to a presence that humans cannot easily perceive. A particularly striking example is shared by therapist Sarah Henderson, who recounts her own family's experience. In the final weeks of her stepfather Jim's life, he became fascinated by a wild bird, a roadrunner, that appeared in their backyard every few days. Jim had never seen this bird before, yet he eagerly awaited its visits. Remarkably, the same bird appeared at key moments. On the day Jim first asked for additional help, and again at the exact hour of his death. Henderson explains that her family did not view these appearances as coincidences, but as a quiet, symbolic acknowledgement. The bird became a living connection to Jim's spirit. Stories like these are reported again and again. A red cardinal at a window after a sibling's funeral. A monarch butterfly landing on an arm on someone's birthday. A hummingbird hovering in the kitchen while someone speaks aloud about their mother. In each case, the appearance of that particular creature feels too deliberate to be random. For those who experience them, these moments are understood as gentle messages, subtle ways of saying, "I'm here."
One of the most emotionally powerful experiences people report is the sudden appearance of a familiar scent with no physical source. Because our sense of smell is uniquely linked to memory and emotion, it can feel especially intense when a loved one's signature fragrance appears unexpectedly. You might smell your grandfather's pipe tobacco when no one is smoking, or catch the exact perfume your wife used to wear while driving alone on an empty road. These scent experiences often occur during moments of grief or longing, at a wake, on the anniversary of a death, or simply when missing someone deeply. This phenomenon is known as clairolfaction, the psychic perception of smells. Grief counselors and spiritual writers have documented hundreds of such cases. One after-death communication blog notes that it is common to smell a loved one's signature fragrance, lilies, leather, coffee brewing, home cooking, or a particular cologne, with no physical source. Grief coach Jen Ripa also lists familiar scents appearing without explanation as one of the most powerful signs of a visiting spirit, pointing out that these aromas tend to appear suddenly, vividly, and briefly. While it is true that scents can linger and that science recognizes how strongly smell is tied to the brain's emotional center, ordinary memory does not fully explain a fragrance that appears suddenly and vanishes just as quickly. Even skeptics find the timing striking, as if the scent itself carried intention. Those who believe in spiritual communication see these moments as deliberate acts, gentle messages sent by the departed, using fragrance as a deeply personal way to say, "I'm still here." Vivid visitation dreams. One of the most immersive and unmistakable ways people report connection is through visitation dreams. Not vague or anxiety-driven dreams, but clear, emotionally powerful encounters. In these dreams, the departed appears fully alive, often younger or healthier than at death, and the experience feels intensely real. The dreamer recognizes them immediately, may hug them or speak with them, hears their voice, and wakes with the strong sense that the person truly came to visit, feeling comforted rather than disturbed. These dreams have been studied by grief researchers for decades because of how common they are. One large content analysis found that 67.1% of respondents said such dreams increased their belief in an afterlife. 68.4% explicitly described them as visitations, and 70.9% said the dreams made them feel more connected to the deceased. Psychologist Patrick McNamara, who has researched these experiences, notes that dreamers often wake up not merely remembering a dream, but feeling they genuinely saw their loved one. Visitation dreams follow recognizable patterns. The loved one usually appears calm, happy, and healthy, sometimes exactly as in a cherished photograph. They may smile, hug, or sit quietly in conversation, and often say reassuring things like, "I'm all right, don't worry about me," or "I love you and I'm always here." One woman dreamed her late mother brushing her hair and telling her she was proud of her. Another dreamed her grandfather, who had died of cancer, suddenly running and playing in the yard with youthful energy, ending by tossing her into the air, laughing. In nearly all cases, people wake feeling peaceful, relieved, and deeply comforted. Thrivology grief coach Jen Ripa also lists these vivid dreams as one of the strongest signs, explaining that during them, the dead appear clear and often very peaceful. Communication is comfortable and affectionate. Researchers observe that these dreams often end with a meaningful final gesture or message, such as a hug or a last sentence that lingers in memory. McNamara emphasizes that people recall these experiences vividly and describe them as real, not confused or dreamlike. Even therapists acknowledge how healing these dreams can be. Whether viewed as the brain's way of processing grief or as something spiritual, the outcome is similar. Survivors wake feeling emotionally reconnected to their loved one. These dreams often occur at critical moments, after funerals, during lonely nights, or on late drives, bringing comfort exactly when it is most needed. So if you dream vividly of a lost parent, partner, or friend, take heart. Research shows many people experience the same kind of powerful, reassuring visitation dreams after loss. The fifth channel of connection. Another powerful way people report sensing departed loved ones is through technology and electrical disturbances. Radios may suddenly turn on to meaningful songs, TVs may flicker when a name is spoken, or phones may ring the exact moment someone thinks of a loved one. Some even report clocks resetting to significant dates, such as birthdays, at midnight. Though startling, these experiences are usually described as gentle and comforting rather than frightening. There is a theory behind this. Because the nervous system and thoughts operate through electrical impulses, some believe a soul can interact with electrical energy. The London College of Psychic Studies notes that electricity is a non-physical force spirits may use, citing reports of radios turning on by themselves to play a favorite or meaningful song, or lights flickering in recognizable patterns. In this view, an unplugged radio suddenly playing a loved one's song or a lamp blinking repeatedly may be interpreted as a quiet greeting from the other side. Many personal stories reinforce this belief. One widower described sitting alone, softly singing, when an old radio suddenly played the exact same song, which he took as reassurance from his wife. Others report asking for a sign and immediately seeing lights flicker, or noticing phone numbers on caller ID that spell meaningful names. Even computers and smartphones are involved, video calls dropping during emotional conversations, or YouTube videos unexpectedly playing clips a deceased sibling once loved. Although science cannot verify these events as spirit communication, since electrical glitches do happen, the timing often feels too precise to dismiss. Paranormal investigators see this as a modern version of older beliefs about clocks stopping or music boxes playing at moments of death. Grief blogger Jen Ripa even includes technology acting strangely but comfortingly as a key sign. Whether coincidence or connection, many believe that when a smart speaker speaks at the right moment or a phone flashlight turns on during grief, it may be a loved one using modern technology to reach out. The sixth channel of connection. In today's world, where everything runs on signals, frequencies, and electricity, some believe there is another pathway, a modern one, a channel that speaks through lights, sounds, and technology itself. Some of the most mysterious ways loved ones reach out appear not in dreams or sense, but in everyday coincidences, especially numbers. Have you ever glanced at a clock at exactly 11:11 after someone passes, or heard a song on the radio the moment you learned of their death? These repeating numbers and synchronicities are widely reported. Carl Jung called them synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that feel too perfectly timed to be chance. During grief, our subconscious often becomes more alert to patterns, making the world seem to respond to our emotions. Today, these experiences are often called angel numbers. Certain sequences, 1 or 11, 2 or 22, 1234, appear repeatedly and are believed to carry messages. Numerologists assign meanings. 1111 often signifies they are thinking of you, while 444 can mean protection. The Lemonade Wellness blog describes these sequences as divine messages from the universe or from our loved ones who have passed. Grieving people notice favorite numbers everywhere, on receipts, street signs, odometers. One man kept seeing his sister's birthday in addresses and book pages for a week after she died. Another woman saw 303 on clocks repeatedly after her husband passed on the 3rd, sensing his presence each time. Therapists note that noticing patterns while grieving is natural and meaningful. Grief counselor Sarah Henderson explains that loss often heightens our connection to mystery, letting us perceive links we cannot fully explain. Small coincidences, from drifting feathers to familiar songs, can feel like clear signs. Many find comfort embracing these moments as evidence of ongoing love. Carl Jung suggested synchronicities serve a psychological purpose, linking inner feelings, grief, hope, longing, with outer events. Whether interpreted spiritually or psychologically, repeating numbers or chance lyrics can feel profoundly real. For someone noticing 1111 exactly when thinking of their mother, it is hard to dismiss as mere randomness. Many call these experiences numerical hugs, and whether angel numbers or coincidences, the reassurance they provide is undeniable. The seventh channel of connection. All these signs involve sensory experiences, sounds, sights, scents, or technology, but the deepest is simply feeling someone is with you. This occurs without any outward clue, yet is felt as a profound certainty. You might sit quietly or drift to sleep and sense a warm presence on your shoulder or a gentle hug. Sometimes a flicker of a familiar face or intuitive knowing accompanies it. You may be kneeling in prayer or alone in darkness, suddenly feeling your loved one holding your hand. Psychic research notes these sensations often appear in the twilight state between waking and sleeping when the mind is most receptive. The London College of Psychic Studies explains that in this alpha brainwave state, subtle signals are more easily perceived. You might hear your name whispered, or feel a reassuring presence at your side. In one study, participants reported glimpsing a faint outline of a person in their bedroom around the time of a loss. Others describe waking with the sensation of being touched or stroked, yet when they open their eyes, nothing is physically there. Unlike dreams, these sensed presences happen in or near waking life, making them feel intensely real. People consistently describe them as loving and tender, using phrases like, "I felt enveloped in love," or "I knew she was standing right there next to me," Surveys suggest that a majority of widows and widowers, around 60 to 70%, experience this kind of presence in the months after a spouse's death. Importantly, the experience is almost always comforting, never frightening. Grief counselors note that grief can soften the boundary between inner and outer worlds, allowing some part of us to recognize a loved one's energy and respond. For many, this final sign is the culmination of all the others. You may never see or hear your grandmother again, yet you know she is there, radiating warmth and calm. Jen Ripa calls it a strong sense of presence, where without any visual cue, comfort simply fills the moment. It can feel like an invisible guardian watching over you. Older men report hearing late mothers' advice at crucial moments, or wives feel a gentle hug across their shoulders. Whatever form it takes, this presence carries the same message. Love and memory endure, even beyond death. All the signs we've explored, the 3 o'clock a.m. awakenings, nature's messengers, familiar scents, flickering electronics, vivid dreams, repeating numbers, and the felt presence, carry a single message. Your departed loved ones are still near. They are offering comfort, reminding you that love transcends death. Edgar Cayce described death as a pause in between life cycles, and modern grief counselors echo this through the continuing bonds model, which encourages maintaining emotional connections with the deceased. Research by Class and colleagues shows that many bereaved people feel their loved ones remain part of their lives, held in memory and spirit. These signs give both psychological and intuitive validation to the idea that our bonds don't truly end. Science and spirituality may explain these moments differently. Some physicists even suggest ideas like quantum immortality, implying consciousness could survive after brain death. But the effect is the same: comfort, connection, and peace. Each sign, whether a song, a scent, a flicker of light, or a subtle presence, is a reminder that your loved one's energy and love remain woven into your life. These experiences are not mere imagination. They are a timeless human intuition supported by countless stories and research. They are gentle reminders that love and memory endure. So when the stillness of 3 a.m. greets you, when a butterfly lands, or when a familiar fragrance drifts by, take heart. You are not alone. Death may silence the voice, but it cannot silence love or the bond you share.